Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the Mike, the premier business radio program. I'm your host, Mike King. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1, the Choice 105.3, International Business Scope Radio, and now soon to be CW Richmond TV. That's where we highlight and showcase RVA in a different way. What we do is we talk to the game changers who are out there. You can follow me on all the social platforms, hashtag on the mic with Mike RV8, as well as Mike King Biz. This is the time for our good friends at Poplar Springs Hospital and UHS. They always they always know some really cool people. We've had our good friends over from NAMI of Virginia here, but now we have Susanna from NAMI Coastal. Welcome to the program, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we should have did the interview before. This is like we're rehashing it. So this is a business show, so tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. So I am with the local affiliate, NAMI Coastal Virginia. We serve Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, and parts of the Eastern Shore. And I am the board president and also in charge of youth and young adult outreach.
Alrighty, so it's a big military presence down there. Like I said, I gave Uncle the best I had. This is all that's left. Talk about the mental aspect in a military community.
Oh gosh, you like hit me up with that right away. Well, it's interesting. We're really excited. We just got the green light from our national organization to bring it's a free class. It's called NAMI Homefront. And it's specific for the military families and, raising awareness, about possible mental health conditions, the transition to civilian life, all the problems that may occur. And everything that we do at NAMI, it's peer-led. So we have some veterans with lived experience that will be teaching the course. We're really excited.
Let me ask you, so a lot of times in different fields, you hear about peer counselors, peer-led. Explain why that's so important to the process.
Gosh, it really is being talked a lot about now because everybody recognizes that importance. I think, so if I was the one living with a mental health condition, let's say I was that veteran who was living with PTSD, and it's easy to see that if you saw another veteran who had experienced PTSD or living successfully with it, you would just have that instant, you'll be able to relate. This person can relate to me. This person knows what I've been through. They can feel my pain. And just seeing this fellow veteran talk about it, it gives that person hope and that they can see that recovery is possible.
Yeah, we're here on the mic with Mike. We're talking good friends over at NAMI Coastal. I always ask the people who are in your field, how are people doing out there? I don't know if we're over COVID. You hear all types of things. Some people say we're past it. Some people we're not. But how are people doing that you run into from a mental health standpoint?
Well, that's a loaded question. It is, I believe it is, everyone is struggling right now. And I think with that youth and young adult aspect, heading back into school, I think now that everyone is back in person, the teachers, the faculty are recognizing that a lot has been going on with these children and teens and a lot of suffering mentally. So whereas I do think there's heightened awareness, I think we're moving in the right direction. I think there's a lot of suffering going on mentally with a lot of people. And we're receiving a lot of calls at our office from families who are looking for help, just looking for any type of resource, because they don't know where to go, where to turn, what to do. And there are a lot of people who are struggling.
Really quickly, how can people find out information about NAMI Coastal?
Oh, yeah. So we have a website, and it's www.NAMI all spelled out, .org. And we have a telephone line, warm line that's answered Monday through Friday, 757-499-2041.
Alrighty, so we talked about the raising of children, and as I said, we're on to the grandkids now. Parents see their kids going through some things. What would you say, give some help on typical teenage behavior that can be rebellious, or if not rebellious, pushing the boundaries? And then there might be something there that some help might be needed. Give us some words of wisdom in that area.
Yeah, so something that we talk about in our presentations, specifically like that situation you described, like parents are wondering, is this typical? Is this a stage? Is this just to be expected? So what we discuss, what we try to educate families on is the common warning signs, they talk about the 10 most common warning signs of mental illness, but to put these, let's say, sad or withdrawn for more than 2 weeks is, one common warning sign. But then to put things into perspective. So have you lost your family pet? Did your dog just die after 12 years living with that amazing, loyal, faithful hound? You're going to be sad and withdrawn, maybe even more than 2 weeks. So putting things into perspective and understanding, is it getting in the way? Is this behavior that they're seeing, is it getting in the way of the daily activities? Are they still going to school? Are they still engaging with their friends or with their normal everyday activities? Is it a sport? Is it music? Is it getting in the way of the daily activities?
A difference between boys and girls, or do they present different, or how do we handle that?
Gosh. And I think even after you and I discussed, having all the kids and grandkids, every child is different, boys, girls, and you could have, and that's what's interesting. You can have two people with the same mental health diagnosis and different symptoms and present differently. So it all depends.
One of the things we always talk about here is, individuality, helping people make it. Do you think that some of the stigma has gone away or is going away, regardless? Because as now, this is, I'm dating myself, but I am older than I don't know what. Back in the day, you didn't even say cancer. A person had the big C, and said a parent would not think anything of that your child has, whether it's diabetes, some other medical condition. But once you start talking about mental health, mental illness, all of a sudden it seemed like pre-pandemic that we came to a screeching halt. It seems better now because you see a lot of things around. But I wonder, is the stigma still there or has it gotten better?
Well, the stigma is still there, but like you said, I think it is getting better. And COVID, maybe that was a twisted little positive of COVID, is that it kind of shone a big, huge spotlight on the issues because of everything was exacerbated with the isolation. So yesterday we were up in Richmond for Mental Health Advocacy Day. And it was really exciting. We got a last minute invitation to be introduced to the General Assembly by one of our delegates from this area. And as we were waiting out in the hallway with a gazillion other people who were being introduced by their delegates, a woman tapped me because we had shirts that were advertising mental health care is healthcare and our information on the back. And she was there, I think, with Regent University. And she tapped me on the back and she said, my granddaughter, who's 25 years old, and she was whispering and she said so there's that stigma is there because it was really hushed tones. It was very it was very not that she was saying she's embarrassed by her granddaughter, but it was hush hush. I know I can talk with you about this, but I want to make sure no one else that I'm here with overhears this.
And that is a tough one. How about generations? I'm 63. Do you think that people in their 20s and 30s look at it different than people my age? Because as you said, that was grandma whispering.
Yep.
If that's a sister who's 28 and you're 22 or you're 18, do you think they're whispering?
You know, I know in my family, they're not whispering. Like, we have 4 kids in their 20s. And because of our life experience with our oldest, who lives with serious mental illness, and the experiences they've had with their friends growing up, there's just so much more exposure to mental health conditions in general that I believe it is spoken, it's just more conversationally with them than it was with us, and definitely than it was with my parents' generation.
Because we always talk about, kids are funny acting. I mean, because I was the only kid, and at that point, I didn't even know that you raise kids different. Because I didn't have any frame of reference because it was just me. And
Okay.
by the time, when I came home from the army on leave one time, I came home with a wife and a baby. My sister's in the second grade. So so when my wife is, how come this person or these two kids are like, they're different? And like, I just thought parenting is parenting. That's it. There you go. But you have to take into account each one's mental, their personality, and all of that. But when people talk about mental health, it affects the family. Can you touch on that? And also, your family has dealt with that. How did the other kids deal with that? Because sometimes mom and dad are stretched to the limit, to their wits end.
Oh gosh, yes. It really does affect the whole family, just like if a child had cancer,
Right.
it would affect the whole family. So so when our daughter was not stable and was actively psychotic, so she has bipolar 1 with psychotic features. And so when she wasn't their medicine wasn't stabilizing, the right medicine hadn't been found, it was still in major crisis zone. The kids couldn't have friends over because we didn't know what to expect from day to day. It was just the unknown and the volatile situation that was going on. So it was, I'm sorry, I know you want to be with your friends, and normally they'd be over here anytime, but we can't have that. We're just, like you said, we're just trying to focus and just deal with what's going on in the moment, and just survive day by day. It definitely affected all of them. All 3 of my sons, all of their friends know that they're okay to talk to. Like, if they have any issues, like, they know that there will be some empathy. So there's been that positive. But there were, vacations we had to not go on, like maybe just traveling north. Our daughter, when she was 19 and she was first hospitalized at Virginia Beach Psychiatric, which is part of that umbrella, the UHS umbrella. We were going to be traveling north to go visit my family in Maryland and my husband's family in Pennsylvania. And we didn't know what was going on with our daughter. And we had to admit her to the psychiatric hospital. And so, and 2 things, like stigma, my parents, who are wonderful, loving, amazing, educated, my dad said, and luckily I couldn't really process this at the time, there was just so much going on. He said, I don't understand why this is going on. You two are such loving parents. How did this happen? So there's the stigma. Did my parenting cause it? And then, they were so excited, everybody was so excited, the brothers, to go see all the cousins, all the grandparents, and we couldn't do it. So it affects the whole family.
For parents who are out there and give them some areas to look at as far as warning signs that they need help with someone like NAMI.
Okay, so some of the common warning signs that we talk about, definitely that sad or withdrawn for more than 2 weeks. It's extended, it's happening for a long period of time. Is there self-medicating happening, abusing drugs and alcohol? Are they hearing things that aren't real? Is there a change in mood, personality, sleeping habits? For my daughter with the mania, when she's not stable and she experienced the mania, there's minimal sleep, yet totally energized. You would think she got a great night's sleep. Whereas me, if I don't get a good night's sleep, I'm dead the next day. That mania, minimal sleep, change in personality, and completely energized. Whereas with the depression, a lot of sleep, not wanting to get out of bed, excessive, 14, 16 hours of sleep and no desire to do anything. Is there an inability to concentrate, that might get in the way of academic performance at school, the lack of concentration, those skills? Trying to think of some of the other common warning signs, where we might think of like a panic attack, the extreme fear or anxiety about something happening. Eating, it could be not eating or overeating, eating disorders. So is that a part of what parents are seeing? And I think it's just, we know our children. And so has there been a change? Is there a change that you need to investigate and just find out? Maybe it isn't a mental health condition, but mental illness is common. 1 in 5. So knowing that it could be happening and not just putting the blinders on and saying, oh, they're a teenager. It could be typical. Just to keep our eyes open and watching our loved ones for any changes.
There you go, Susanna, dropping nuggets of knowledge on us. Ma'am, one last time, how can people find you out there?
Yes, we are. Our website is www.nami, N-A-M-I, coastal spelled out, and then Virginia spelled out.org. And then our phone is 757-499-2041. And we are on social media too, Facebook, Instagram.
There you go. It's always a pleasure. Like you said, those things that we talk about, the mental health aspect, it is something that, hopefully it is getting better. The stigma isn't there. Shout out to you guys for raising sons who can be the calming force in a male crazed world. I was always that guy, and there is a value in being that guy, the ones that people can come and talk to, because a lot of time guys don't have anyone to talk to. So, shout out and kudos to, and congratulations on the thing that's upcoming. Welcome to the club. So on the Mike, we always like to thank our folks out here. Make sure you keep listening to us. We are talking to the game changers, people who are out changing the world, making the world be a better place. Mental health plays a part in it. And hopefully that thing called the timeout, the coronavirus, that was a thing that helped take some of the stigma away about getting help, because in the past, being in the military, you see that all the time. Whenever you call the VA, that's the first thing that they talk about. It wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
It was not always like that, but people understand the value of mental health in the youngest of folks and even into older folks like me. I'd like to thank you for coming on the mic with Mike. Hey, folks, make sure you take a listen to our sponsors and advertisers, because this is radio. The microphone ain't free. Plus, my grandkids need stuff. Suzanne, that's my line. That's it every day. So, make sure you go ahead and help us stay on the air. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Now, bye-bye.